Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dark and Rose here, and you're probably wondering why the hell did this take so long to upload and other things like that. Well, a lot of things happened since the last video, and I always say that because, well, obviously it's true. And, well, I'm just gonna list some of them down. 1 week in July, I actually went out to my grandparents' home, which is like 6 hours away from here. So there was no editing that week, and it was because it's my grandma and stuff like that. And I wanted to spend as much time with her because I was really scared of, you know, like not spending enough time with her because she's already almost at her end, and I really need to, you know, like, you know, sit down and enjoy time with her. Also, another thing, I've been streaming a lot, and I would love to edit at the night when I'm finished streaming, but my computer is at the brink of overheating and it just crashes if I try to do it. I'm trying to solve that with a workaround, getting a liquid CPU cooler for that, and I hope that actually helps a lot, because whenever it comes to rendering and other things like that for these videos, it does heat up my computer, and it scares me because if it overheats and the CPU fries, I have to spend over $300 for a new CPU and possibly a new motherboard, because depending on how it fries, you can actually damage your motherboard too while you're at it. Another thing too, this is actually the last thing, I'm actually going to RTX this year, and well, you know, it's kind of sudden to be saying this stuff because I only started like what, a couple of months ago. I mean, I could have said this during my early time, but you know, stuff like that. I mean, I've been busy with school, and it hasn't came across my mind since the final days of this, you know, before RTX actually begins. So, if you guys actually want to meet me there, that'll be awesome. I might actually bring around my Blue Yeti, not my webcam though, because you know, like seriously, I like to not bring too many expensive equipment to some place. And I might do some narrations downstairs at this hotel I'm going to. It's actually the Hilton, which is closest to the Austin Convention Center. It's basically touching. And I might bring my Blue Yeti with me so I can do some narrations when I'm over there. And if you guys are willing to do that, if you guys are willing to narrate with me, then you guys can meet me there. I just can't specify when I'll be narrating on those days. I'm going to be there for the whole entire event. So if I don't bring my mic, well, obviously there's going to be no sessions that day, or those 3 days. And after that, I'm going to probably spend like a day after RTX to just relax, you know, do a bit of streaming. Maybe watch the International, because I play Dota and I actually want to check out what's been going on, because the 3 days of RTX is the last 2 days of the International, Sunday being it already over, and Saturday marking it as the last day of it. And I want to see who wins, because I've been really curious, because I'm not going to say I'm a Dota fan, but I love competitive gaming. So I think I rambled on too much. Sorry about that. So I'll leave you guys to it. Here is chapters 28 to 33, and yes, you might have expected this already. This is a post recording. So yeah. Let's get on with it. And if you're wondering why I re-recorded the beginning, it's because the recording that this recording that I did with the narration, I sounded really retarded in the beginning. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope to see you guys there at RTX, because when this uploads, it'll most possibly be a couple days before RTX, or a few days. Alright, enough of me talking. Here it is. Alright, chapter 28, a step closer to pollination. This is in Yang's POV, and it's a direct continuation of chapter 24. Just gotta crack my knuckles, that's how serious I am. Yang, I need you to be honest with me. By that, I mean don't hesitate to say the first thing that comes to mind. I don't want you cushioning your thoughts. I look over to Weiss, watching her take only her third sip from the punch I got her. I'm actually surprised she isn't coughing after only the third sip. After I poured her cup, I snuck a little extra shot in her cup for her from the little bottle I've snuggled away in my top. Okay, The jig is up. Yes, I've pictured you naked, but only one time, I swear. I hold back a snicker until I catch a death glare out the corner of my eye from the Ice Queen. She makes it far too easy to mess with her, I swear. Alright, stop glaring daggers. What's up? I take a moment to flash the final glare to Blake, who is sitting with the one person I wish I would never have to see her near again, Sun Wukong. That monkey boy has been trying his luck with Blake since they met a few months ago, and he has proven to be extremely determined. I know Blake made it clear she wanted to come to the prom with me and not Sun, but the fact that she is now sitting with him is slowly eating away at me. I would go down there and knock him back to Banana Land, but this is one of those times I need to be there for Weiss. The very first time I need or even want to be there for her. Oh, so supportive. So supportive, Yang. Yang, I need to know. I turn my head when Weiss pauses, watching her take a heavier drink from her cup, downing half of it with only a mild shiver and nothing else. Wait, when the hell could ice cream handle alcohol? The more you know. Yang, do you support Ruby and I? My eyes widen slightly. To hear Weiss ask that question filled me with a mix of shock and actual anger for some unknown reason. I suppose because I am still adapting to the relationship. I said like though there's a comma. Because I am still adapting to the relationship. I grip the banister firmly while I lean on it, looking down at the paleness of the back of my hands. Not to dodge the question, Weiss, but I wouldn't trust anybody with my baby sis. She's all I have. And even with me being the one trying to protect her, I've hurt her a few times too. When I say I can't trust anybody with her, I mean in general, and I include myself. When Ruby first moved in with us, I had to keep close to her because she was just so hyper and rebellious, and always trying to find some way to run away. She wanted her mom back and must have thought that by running away and surviving on her own like her mom did, that she'd earned some rite of passage that would bring her back. During that time frame, I started to show Ruby that it's not easy out there. Each time she tried to sneak out, she was met with a punch either to her face or stomach, and believe me, she was out in one hit each time. I hurt Ruby plenty in our childhood, and because of that, I refuse either to let her be her anymore. I don't know what she's gone through emotionally. My mom disappeared, but I know she's alive, and even then she disappeared while I was going to Signal. So I was a little sturdier emotionally since I was older. I won't let anybody hurt her, never again. I clenched my fist, feeling my grip slowly going through the wooden banister and starting to break it with light crackling sounds that become more constant while my grip continues to grow stronger. A tap to my back makes me flinch and loosen my grip, moving my hands away from the banister and looking at the deformed wood. I turned my head to see Weiss keeping her hand on my back and smiling, with her left hand holding out the rest of her drink to me. Here, you need this a little more than I do now, she whispers, gesturing for me to take her cup. But I shake my head instead. By the way, I don't whisper because I feel like it's not going to capture on the mic, so that's why I just lower my voice a bit. I don't, but thanks. I smile, taking a deep inhale through my nose and a loud, sharp exhale from my mouth. I never answered your question. Yes, I do support the two of you. You've done nothing wrong to my baby sis, and I trust you more with her than I do myself. But I still won't hesitate to hospitalize you the moment you do something to hurt her. Wow. Good. If I ever hurt Ruby, I'll beat myself mentally and you can beat me physically. Weiss looks at me with a brief stare, showing her seriousness to her words before standing upright, tilting her head back and chugging the rest of her drink down and holding the cup out to me. May I have another? Again, I look at the prim and improper heiress with complete shock. Chugging down spiked punch is no big accomplishment, but when you're as straight edge as Weiss comes off to be, then it becomes a big deal. Weiss, how did you... Just because I carry myself as a proper lady does not mean I have not enjoyed the delicacy. Ah, fuck you. Delinquency and juvenile act of consuming alcohol. I thought it was delicacy, like, wait a minute. I am a teenager just as everybody else, despite being far more mature for my age. There's the Ice Queen I know. I thought you were someone else for a moment. I tease, taking a cup from her and starting to walk towards the staircase. I might as well be without Ruby nearby, I hear her mumble. Here I thought Ruby was the lost puppy. More points to you, Weiss. I quietly walked down the steps, glaring past the crowd at Blake and Sun, the two involved in some conversation. What could that monkey boy have to talk about that's so interesting anyway? Or rather, something so interesting that Blake is actually listening. I let out several unrepeatable combinations of curses that would make Ruby go wide-eyed, Weiss go into shock, and Blake's ears wiggle underneath her bow. Huh. Go to fucking cocksucker. I am quick at getting to the punch bowl, but decided simply carrying 2 drinks won't be enough. I set down 3 cups in a tight triangle, filling each one about an inch from the top. I then take one more and fill it up to the same amount. I place the 3 cups in my hand, holding them in the triangle shape I organized them into before placing the 4th cup right on top of the other 3, directly in the center. As I begin to walk back, I make use of my free hand to push anyone in front of me aside, few even shouting in disapproval, at least until they see who it was that shoved them. My reputation both in the training arena and in my social life around Beacon keeps me very well known, though more for the latter. As I make my way back up the steps, Weiss is standing at the top, carefully taking 2 of the cups from me before I can even utter a word. I was under the impression that princesses aren't meant to lift a finger. I grin while I walk past her and back to our earlier spot in the center of the balcony. If I were that royal, then you wouldn't be talking to me right now, you classless barbarian. I look over my shoulder at Weiss, who flashes me a playful smirk. That's so funny, I forgot to laugh. I roll my eyes, placing one of the cups in my hand on the floor and starting to sip from the other. Wasn't meant to be funny. Only Ruby calls me princess, just like only Blake calls her Little Red, and you're the only one to call Blake any synonym for a cat. Wow, you cherish your nickname for you that much, eh? I ask, trying to pry a little more into Weiss to find out just how much she cares for my sister. Wow, I didn't know Yang was Canadian. Oh wait, because I forgot Barb was Canadian. I cherish anything that Ruby does to differentiate. Fucking shit! I'm having a problem with complicated words today, guys. I'm sorry. I cherish anything that Ruby does to differentiate herself from everybody else. Fucking shit. Her childish attitude, her leadership skills, that puffy-cheeked face she makes whenever she pouts. I liked Ruby for a while, Yang. Possibly from halfway through our semester, and Blake, up till now, has been the only one to know that I've liked Ruby for that long. Now you're the second. She's liked Ruby that long and never said a thing? And more importantly, Blake knew this for who knows how long and never told Ruby? What the hell? Weiss, I had no idea that you were fond of my sis for that long. I look at Weiss. For the first time tonight, she has her back towards the large front door, abandoning her way for Ruby, it seems, at least for this instant. There are things none of you know about me, and as much as I would like to keep it that way forever, I feel eventually it may need to come out, as a respect to us being teammates and more so to the 4 of us being friends, and a girlfriend in Ruby's case. Yeah, well, could always start now while you're getting tipsy. Always easier to talk on a buzzed brain. I shrug, chugging down the rest of my cup after taking several baby sips from it. I don't know a shortened version of how to tell my past, Yang. I'd rather not start telling just for you to grow bored and cease to listen as I spill my guts like a taxi cab confession. Weiss, we haven't always seen eye to eye. Okay, we never seen eye to eye. At least not until you started to date my sister. If you were to try to tell me this a month ago, I would have laughed and walked away. Right now, however, all I know is that you've been making Ruby happy. She's been making you happy, and in turn, I have been happier. Call me selfish, and actually, it is selfish, but helping you get this off your chest will make you happier, and that will make Ruby happier, which will make me happier, and a happy Yang is a happy everyone. As much as I would love to poke at all the holes in that Yang center logic of yours, I do not want to get this off of my chest, so here goes. Weiss begins talking to me about how she was raised up, being the first daughter of her parents with a little sister soon to follow, Winter She. Weiss grew up being smothered by top-of-the-line teachings, and never being allowed to step a foot out of her family's mansion without having someone accompany her. In most cases, she chose for it to be the family driver, who was also a butler, cook, repairman, and anything else they needed of him. His name was Sebastian, and according to Weiss, he has always been one hell of a butler. Anytime she wished to go out of the state and into town, he was the one to follow without her even needing to search and find him. She was soon free to go wherever she wished because she had someone who would blindly follow her without displaying a sign of dissatisfaction. However, When Weiss turned 16, she was restricted from going outside, instead needing to learn every detail there was to know about the family business, from their income, trade partners, and shipping departures, all the way down to the names of the small-time dust stores that they supplied. She was put through tougher educational values than both her parents had ever gone through, and lost the social skills she grew from her many happy trips into town, instead of having them replaced with teaching her proper etiquette and to know just how much weight her last name held. On her 17th birthday, Weiss was able to take on fencing, convincing her father that it would benefit the company to have the heiress using a weapon that utilizes the substance their company creates, and with that, her father introduced her to his old weapon, Murdernaster, a standard rapier that ran on dust. After several modifications, it was now able to chamber multiple types of dust, as well as work in harmony with her semblance, her ability to use glyphs coming from her father. Half a year later, she made up her mind that she did not want to just be an heir to a company, and in rebelling to her parents, she set out to become a huntress, even changing from wearing her braid straight down her back to over her shoulder as her way of breaking the perfect symmetry her parents desired her to have. I wanted to question Weiss about the scar above her left eye, but being in a state of borderline tears she is in while she tells me the story, I figured to be best just to leave it be for now. As a matter of fact, I did not realize how long she and I have been talking until I see her finishing her second cup of punch. And being that she has been slowly sipping at it the entire time, it means we have been talking for quite a while. So, yeah, I have not had the greatest laugh, Yang. Even wearing twin tails makes me cringe at the thought that I am symmetrical, just as my parents wanted me to be. But it's for RWBY, and that makes it bearable. I nod my head, finishing the second cup of mine I brought up. I had no idea, Weiss. Always thought you were just a spoiled brat that thought herself better than everyone. I am, Yang, but I was taught to be that way. Anyway, I see Blake getting up. I look over, seeing Blake sliding out of her seat and starting to walk until Sun stops her briefly. Go at least let her know you were thinking of her. Weiss, Blake and I aren't... Oh shit. Not yet. RWBY and I saw the hickey on Blake's neck. There's no need to hide it from me. RWBY saw it? I facepalm myself, unable to imagine what RWBY must be thinking after seeing the mark I placed on Blake. She did, and she asked Blake to take care of you. I looked at Weiss with an expression of shock written on my face. RWBY really did that? I asked, amazed that my little sis would be looking out for me like that. I definitely owed her one. Yeah, and look, ask Blake out tonight. She's turned me down so many times already. I'd rather not have it happen again, especially on prom. I'd rather try tomorrow. Yang, ask her out tonight. Weiss's glare reverts back to the stern stare of her heiress nature. She won't say no to you. As a matter of fact, even if you do it tomorrow, she won't say no. But for the sake of showing her you have some form of class, do it tonight. Now go. She's making her way through the crowd. Hurry up so you can surprise her, Weiss commands of me, shoving me to the stairs before I continue to follow the momentum she placed in me. I quickly jog down the steps, walking my way to the punch bowl and seeing Blake there, gazing around at what to drink. I work my way behind her, seeing her eyeing the punch and quickly sneak up to her before whispering, "Don't drink the punch." I wrap my arms around her, gazing upwards to Weiss, who is looking at the door, but nods her head and gives a thumbs up. She has really good peripheral vision. I am well aware you spiked the punch, Yang. Son, must you mention that blonde monkey? My first time seeing you tonight, and that's the first name you gotta call out? Son. Why can't he go back on that ship he snuck here on? Yeah, well, Weiss is about to be on her third cup. I lie. She already finished her third. No, I'm not getting her drunk. I just wanted to air out a bit. RWBY isn't here yet, and she's doing her best to keep happy. I wanted to spend the night with you, you know? Believe me, this is not how I had the evening planned. Although I have become a lot closer with Weiss. So it's somehow been a success for one reason or another, I guess. Or other, I guess. Now Blake goes into how I should trust Weiss. Let her come down and socialize and blah blah blah. Blake has no idea how much I just want to shush her with a kiss right now. The only reason Weiss and I were up there was to keep an eye out for RWBY and have a private conversation between the two of us. Although that conversation was done for now. Anyway, let me get a cup of soda or something and I'll get back to Sun. Why must you say his name so much? Why don't you come upstairs to me and Weiss? Then he says only 2 people are allowed on the balcony. I'll cross my toes, hoping she gets my gesture. Would be a bit rude just to leave him, Yang. Plus I think it's a good bonding experience for you and Weiss. Who knows? May even start feeling more comfortable with her dating RWBY. I feel her gently prying my arms from around her. You have no idea how comfortable I feel with her dating RWBY right now, Blake. Weiss is as close a match for RWBY as you are for me. Oh, hold that thought. I quickly go underneath the table to open a cooler. I stash with a half-full carton of milk. I pull a cup over, filling it up to the top and handing it to Blake before stashing the carton again. Thanks, Yang. You didn't spike the milk too now, did you? She asked with that teasing grin of hers. Unfortunately not. Nope. Aside from the water, I think that's the only thing that isn't spiked. So you spiked the soda too? Actually, spiking the soda was Pierre's idea. No! Yes! I didn't want Prawn to be all dull. I mean, look around. Everyone's giggling, having fun, and just enjoying themselves. I bite my lip, stiffening a giggle as I see John in his dress, making an appearance in the distance over Blake's shoulder. Actually, I start to giggle, unable to hold back at the sight. Blake looks at me in confusion, eventually turning around herself to see what was so funny that I had to stop in mid-sentence to giggle at. Well, I think they look cute together. Pierre will make a good husband. I feel a tear slip out of the corner of my eyes. I start to laugh harder than earlier. My kitty is making jokes. Blake Belladonna, are you getting a sense of humor? Just hush up and tell Weiss to come down. If you're worried about losing her, just sit her near the stairs. Neptune's over there, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to talk to her. Doesn't Neptune like Weiss? I raise an eyebrow in suspicion. Yes, he does, but I'm sure you trust Weiss. Just like you trust me talking to Sun. I grin. The grin Blake sends me as she walks away makes me realize that she has been wearing my jealousy and my stares at the two of them all night. She's been taking the chance to mess with me yet again. Damn it, Blake! I shout out as she walks away, letting out a loud sigh as I quickly make my way back up the stairs to see Weiss waiting for me at the top of the landing again. Hey, Weiss. Blake wanted me to ask you to head down and socialize with Neptune a bit. I guess to get your mind off of everything. Psh, the only thing that would accomplish is making RWBY jealous when she finally decides to show up. If she shows up at all, that is. Weiss begins to walk down the steps, and I walk next to her, matching her pace. Knowing my sis, if she knew you were drinking and talking with Neptune, she'd take the first chance to get you away from him and get you back to the dorm. Actually... Weiss. I grab her by the shoulders, quickly pushing her against the wall, while aura beginning to flare as I stare into her eyes. How much do you like RWBY? That hurt, you brute! And we already established that. I would do anything for her. Her focused stare at me brings a smile to my lips. I know just how to repay my sis for watching out for me, and for Ice Queen's helpful information. What about to her? I smirk. Weiss's eyes widening, then shifting to confusion. Yes, Weiss. In that way. Yang, I don't know if you're drunk or just trying to bait out something to randomly punch me on, but I do not appreciate it. And to be quite honest, I would not have the courage to make the first move, even with the alcohol starting to settle into my system. One more and I'll start to giggle. I can feel it. Weiss, just don't make the first move. I'll feel better about myself if you don't, but do me a favor. Go talk with Neptune. Get that forced drink in you and just go with the flow from here on out. Yang, what are you implying? Weiss raises an eyebrow at me. I take a deep breath, placing a hand on Weiss's shoulder. I'm trusting you, Weiss. Don't make me regret it. I look over my shoulder, seeing a girl enter the area. For some reason, she looks familiar, but I can't really make it out just yet. Then, when I see a brief disappearance in a flurry of rose petals, my eyes go wide and I quickly rush Weiss to go downstairs while I make my way back up to where I had been standing the entire night. I see RWBY in the center of the dance floor, looking around for Weiss. I raise my arms, my gesture not taking long to be noticed by my baby sis who disappears again, appearing at the bottom of the stairwell to the other side of the room from the one Weiss was at. Disappearing again and leaving more rose petals left in her previous spot, her reappearance being at the top of the steps, and then she does it once more to end up next to me. Yang, where's Weiss? My sister asked in such a rushed tone. Oh, Weiss? She went down to chill. I think she's chatting it up with Neptune. Oh, as a matter of fact, there they are. Looks like he just got her a drink. I point to the bottom of the stairs, smiling to see Neptune acting so chivalrous and proper, making it that easier despite the jealousy of my sister. Yang, why did you let her sit with Neptune? RWBY looks at me with concern in her eyes. Everyone in Remedy can tell he likes her. Hey, don't be mad at me. I kept her here for a while. Not my fault she wants to socialize at a party she helped organize. I guess what Weiss says is true. You may be fast, but you excel at wasting time. My comment does just what I needed it to. Get Ruby to realize that there is nobody to blame for the situation but herself, and in turn she darts off to go grab her girlfriend for what she would consider a threat to her relationship, although Weiss is far too in love for that. I quietly trail behind, getting to the bottom of the steps just in time to hear Ruby tell Neptune to stay away from Weiss. Out the corner of my eye, I can see Sun starting to advance towards my sister, and I quickly take a step forward, ready to intercept him, but Blake holds out her arm to keep him back, just when I thought I would get a valid reason to bash his head in. I shake my head, looking back at Ruby to see her looking into Weiss's eyes. And if that wasn't enough, my sister decides to enter a quick lip lock with the resonant snow airs. I stand there in momentary shock, watching Ruby quickly take Weiss into her arms and lead her out of the dance. Before they turn the corner after leaving the building, I see Weiss look over her shoulder and make a brief, split second of eye contact with me. Alright, Weiss. I'll make my move, gosh. I make my way towards where Blake is. The cute Faunus girl noticed me immediately and walking towards me. Yang, I made a mistake with telling you to let Weiss talk with Neptune. I should have thought about how Ruby gets. Blake looks at me with worried eyes. Why does she think she's responsible for this? I'll clear it up with her later. I'm totally lost. Weiss is gay? I look over Blake's shoulder, seeing Sun walking over with confusion written all over his face. Why can't you say lesbian? Why does nobody say lesbian? What, is that like some sort of like feminist sort of thing? I mean, I'm not against lesbians or anything of the sort, but you just say lesbian. Actually, Weiss may be bisexual. Not sure. Ruby is a lesbian. Thank you! Answer him bluntly. He's the last person I want around me and Blake right now. Wow. Sucks being Neptune, man. He is, was, and may still be head over heels for Weiss. He's my friend, but can't say I would want to be in his shoes at all. Well, that sucks for you, son, I say, staring him straight in the eyes. I see Blake snap her gaze at me the moment I say that. I guess she was thinking the same thing, but I have something far worse than just telling Sun. I plan on leaving him just like Neptune. What? Don't tell me you two are going out too! He groans, placing his right hand on the back of his head. No, we're not, I answer, placing my left hand on Blake's right hip, starting to slide my arm to her back and gently bring her closer to me. I look over to the stunned Neptune, the poor soul just starting to recover from the shock. I look down at Blake, giving her my confident grin and whispering in a voice so low that even someone right next to me would need to ask for me to repeat myself. Blake, will you go out with me? I watch as her eyes widen and her lips part in surprise at my question. I shift my eyes back to Sun, giving Blake time to answer my question. Hopefully Weiss was right and Blake will say yes. Otherwise my plan is about to fail and embarrass me. But what else is new? I'm a risk taker, and it's always all or nothing. That's a relief. Blake, want to hang out tomorrow? Sun asks, taking a step closer to us. I bite my lower lip, feeling my aura flare, but Blake's hand tapping my shoulder, that wordless symbol between us for her to tell me to calm down, makes me take a small breath and watch as she looks over her shoulder at the monkey Faunus. Man, that's some good monster. As tempting an offer that is, Sun, I am interested in somebody else, Blake says in her usual monotone, but I feel her purring from my hand resting on her back. What? Who would that be? You don't really socialize much. I mean, it took you 3 days to actually hold a conversation with me. Oh, you actually know him. They make awful jokes, blonde hair, has a very special charm. I begin to blush a little, looking at Blake while she speaks to Sun. That John Art guy? He looks like a nice guy, but he seems a little too average. Plus, the cross-dressing thing doesn't really work for him. True enough. I guess I'll have to settle for another blonde, Blake says, giving Sun a smile, but the gentle caress I can feel her giving my shoulder reassures me. Heh, really? Sun asks, giving off that arrogant, toothy grin of his. The same grin he flashed Blake when he ran by us from the docks. Ever since then, I wanted to bash his teeth out of his mouth and make him drink banana smoothies for months. So how does 5 days from now, Friday sound for a good day for a date? Blake gives my shoulder a quick series of taps, and just as Sun starts to respond, I begin to cut in. That sounds great, Blake. I smile down at her, though she still is looking at Blake, the Sun. I mean, fuck. Yang, I think she was talking to me. Sun stays with a mild hostility in his voice. Yeah, Yang, I was talking to Sun. What makes you think you had a chance with me? Blake growls, turning to look at me and winks so Sun can't see. Sorry, Yang. Looks like one of us will be lonely tonight. I seriously want to bash the skull in now. Too bad it's not who you think, Sun, Blake whispers to him. Her arm moving out from my shoulder and wrapping her around my neck. I look down at Blake, smiling at her. Yes, Yang, I'll go out with you, she says just before leaning up to press her lips to mine. I tie my grip on her waist, placing my other hand on her upper back. We keep the kiss brief. Oh my god. Holding it to the same amount of time RWBY had with Weiss. Well, it's only 9 o'clock. Wonder what you two broken-hearted boys will be doing for the next 3 hours. I smile, looking over to the small group of people who saw the kiss, and immediately flare my aura. The same instant, they all look away, and I begin to start walking up the stairs with Blake in my arms, leaving Sun and Neptune to cry their hearts out together. I swear to God, that sprouts out sea monkeys. I swear to God. Oh, man. About time you asked me out again, Yang, Blake says to me as we reach the top of the steps, but in a happier tone than her usual monotone. Yeah, well, I have to look at things in a different way first. As a matter of fact, let me send out a quick message to RWBY. I hope you'll be staying with me till midnight. I need to watch over the rest of the party since Weiss left, I say while I take out my scroll from my bra and begin typing a message to RWBY. What are you telling her? Oh, that I'm just the greatest sister ever. I smile, just 3 words concluding my text. I press send, putting my scroll back in my top. I look up at Blake, quickly placing my arms around her and sitting her on the banister. And I now have that greatest girlfriend ever, I whispered her before I lean up to kiss her once more. Not caring if the entire room is gazing up at our lip lock. I could cease to care what everyone is saying, and Blake appears to be sharing my opinion on the matter, pulling me tighter in the kiss while I hold her lower back firmly to avoid her falling from the balcony. Blake Belladonna, I will never let you out of my sight. I mean, about fucking time. There's like Bumblebee was seriously hinted, like so badly, like not in the bad way. I mean in a good way. It was like so obvious it was gonna happen. Hold on a second. Oh my god, how long was that? Jeez, it felt like forever. Oh, that was like 30 minutes long. Holy crap. I mean, like, seriously. That was so, like, obvious and shit like that. Alright. By the way, I still don't know how my Cinder voice is to you guys. So, I'm still afraid to do any chapters that has Cinder's, like, POV coming in. Because then, like, I'm not sure if you guys even like it. I was putting on deodorant, that's why I was saying that. Because I need to buy time. Like, I need to put on some more, because, like, I think my deodorant's just too weak or something. Or maybe my room's just too hot, because I'm sweating like balls in my RWBY shirt. Anyways, here is chapter 29, Overprotective and Overpowered. This is in Weiss's POV. Man, this shit is pumping me up! My head. What the hell happened last night? I open my eyes, needing to wait a moment before the darkness in the room becomes easier to see in, and grants me a gaze at RWBY's adorable sleeping face. Her hair looks so nice with those light white tips. I hope I told her that several times over. Wait, why is she in my bed? Ugh, the doll is just trying to get Yang to kill me. Wait, Yang? The very light throbs in my head increase while I try to remember what happened last night. I started with my talk with Yang after I had several drinks. RWBY took forever to arrive. She truly excels at wasting time. And made a scene at the dance that resulted in her bringing me back to the dorm because she thought I was incapable of being at the party in my tipsy state. Come on, Weiss. You didn't have enough drinks to forget things. I lift a hand up to my temple, rubbing one of the 2 throbbing areas on my head. I can feel goosebumps forming on my biceps. For once, I feel cold, very mildly, but I never felt cold. But I never feel cold. It's at this point that I become a little more in tune with my body. I don't feel the usual embrace of the soft material of my nightgown, and to verify this, I reach for my shoulder and feel the lack of a spaghetti strap. My eyes widen, and I reach down and run my fingers down my body, feeling bare flesh the entire way. As if by some knowledge of unknown magic, I throw my covers off, expecting to see myself clothed in my white nightgown as I always am. Needless to say that my expectations were utterly crushed. For that brief moment, I forget that Ruby is right next to me. The sleeping girl is the least of my concerns at this moment. As a matter of fact, all I want to find is my nightgown, wherever it is, and put it on. I make an attempt to sit up, but my necklace tugs at my neck after I move it so far. I look at my necklace, seeing that it's tied over rubies. It is at this moment that a rush of images floods my mind, reminding me in detail of the taboo that took place last night. I reach to the back of my neck to unclip my necklace, so I may go to the bathroom, but a swift hand reaches out to my shoulder and pulls me in. I look through the darkness and see Ruby staring right into my eyes. I told you, Weiss. You aren't going anywhere without me, my girlfriend whispers, wrapping her arms around me and even going so far as to hook her leg over my rear. She did this just before we slept, but it seems she turned a little and released me somewhere during her sleep. She pulls me against her form, over breasts, stomachs, and foreheads touching. Satisfied with herself, Ruby then reaches down for the covers and tosses them back over to me, hiding our bodies underneath the blanket. She feels so warm, but a shiver that erupts from her disheartens me. For a time, I forgot that my body brings nothing but the embrace of winter. Ruby, I don't want you freezing just because you wish to hold me. Don't be so dramatic, princess. We both know your body isn't that cold. I'm just not so used to sleeping naked. I feel colder than usual. Ruby smiles before brushing her nose over mine. I give her a brief nod on my head, surprising her when I tilt my head to stop her noses and foreheads from touching and treat her to a very brief kiss. God, this writing is better than my writing. I suck dick compared to this. Yes, I compare my writing to yours, George. You're happy now? You're more supreme than me. I'm jealous. I'm super jealous. But I mean, you are older than me, and you may have more experience with writing. I'm just very good for my age with the writing stuff. Anyways, back on track. Thank you, I murmur, while wrapping my arms around her petite form and burying my face at the area between her neck and chest. I begin relaxing my thoughts and muscles. Ruby quickens my escape into the dream world when she reaches her hand to the back of my head and begins to brush hers. Oh my god! To brush over my hair. Surprisingly, she is leaving my twin tails alone, which must be a complete disaster right now. It leaves me to drift away. I have no idea what time it is right now, but hopefully the next time I wake up, it will be early enough that Yang is still sleeping, but late enough that it won't be out of the ordinary for me to step into the shower. I open my eyes, looking at a still sleeping Ruby ahead of me. It is still dark, but not as dark as earlier. As a matter of fact, the sun could be rising within the next hour or so. Unfortunately, I can still feel Ruby pressed tightly against me with her arms and legs holding me as close as possible. First things first, I reach behind my neck and undo my necklace, this time without Ruby's hand darting out to stop me. I'd love to lay with you until the sun comes up, Ruby, but I need a shower. I sigh softly, carefully moving her arm from me, then her leg, pausing every time she makes a slight noise or movement. I look, it's just like how I was at like the second morning of RTX. I look over my shoulder, seeing both Blake and Yang are asleep, and decide now is the time to make my move. I push the blanket off of me and roll over to get my feet off of the bed and onto the floor. The moment my feet touch the floor, I get off of the bed and go into my top drawer, wasting no time with taking out a. God damn it, you making me say this shit. With taking out a clean pair of panties, a bra, then going into the drawer below and pulling out an ice blue nightgown with white snowflakes. Close the door, please. Thank you. Fuck! It's like I have to say panties. I'm not alone in the house, man. I look back at Ruby, who is still sleeping, but after I slipped free from her loving embrace, she rolled over and is now hogging all the covers. Not that I mind, as a matter of fact. The thought of having my blanket smothered by her natural scent makes me eager to sleep tonight and dream of her. That's not weird, is it? I mean, I'm sure girls wear their partner's jackets and stuff to remember their smell. So it's totally normal, right? I mean, it's totally normal in red snowflakes. Oh, what? Did I just spoil something? I shake my head at my thoughts. There's a better time to wonder just how unhealthy my love for Ruby is, and it certainly is not now while I am standing in the room completely naked with a bra, a nightgown, and a pair of panties in my hand. I quickly make my way to the bathroom, being very careful as I tread by Blake and Yank's book-supported bunk beds. I slip into the bathroom unnoticed. It's Metal Gear style. That's what I feel like it is. I carefully close the door behind me. That's a relief, I whisper to myself, and make my way over to the bathtub. I set the water to run, memorizing that my ideal temperature happens when I turn the cold water knob 1/3 of a full rotation, and the hot water knob 1/4. Memorizing these things saves plenty of time with showers, especially since I do not need to revert to the usual gas to check method that I'm sure Yang and Ruby must use. Before climbing in, I took to the wall rack, making sure my ice blue towel with my emblem embedded on it is in white is still hanging. It's hanging. Fuck. It's still a really good monster. I see it is on the end of the rack furthest from the shower, and correct that by placing it on top of Yang's towel, who's his closest, which makes sense since Yang was the last person to shower yesterday. I smiled to myself, pushing the burgundy curtain aside and climbing into the shower. The water was just as I liked it, the type of cold that is cherished on a hot day, and sends a very mildness of shivers down the spine. Although rarely did I shiver in the shower unless I was out in the heat during the worst season of all. Summer. Truthfully, I enjoy some of the festivities of summer, but I hate the heat itself that defines the season. Huh, I know, Weiss, right? I mean, like, Texas is almost like 100 degrees here, and man, is it hot as balls in this fucking room. I honestly can't wait for the summer vacation, which is well over 6 months away since it is fall. I'm sure Ruby will try to make the team do something together, most likely a beach day or a picnic. I'd rather have the beach day, mainly because I could make some attempt to tarn my pale complexion. Although for some reason my skin is capable of battling away any sort of UV rays, and whatever tan I manage to get fades within 2 weeks of not being exposed to focused sunlight. Though I suppose the real reason for preferring a beach day is to see just what kind of bathing suit Ruby will wear. I quickly shake my head, getting the thoughts of the many combinations of outfits Ruby could wear during a beach visit out of my head. What would Ruby wear that makes you think so dirty, Weiss? Get it together, Weiss. You came here to clean your body, not further dirty your mind. I let out a soft sigh, reaching for the washcloth I leave hanging over the bar that holds up the shower curtain and let the cloth get soaked with water. I take a moment to grab the soap, lathering up the washcloth, and step to the far end of the tub, away from the water so I can begin lathering up my body, starting with my inner thighs since I feel they are the dirtiest, for obvious reasons. I then work my way up my torso and lower back, making sure I'm covered by the many thin, white streaks of soap suds before stepping back into the water and letting it wash away all the dirt, sweat, and dry juices on my body from yesterday. I watch as the washed away suds spiral down the drain, swirling in a tiny vortex before disappearing completely. I turn the middle knob of the shower, changing the flower water from the shower head back down to the tub, then turning off the water. I open the shower curtain to find my towel and dry myself. God dang, it says try instead of dry, but I'm trying not to, see too many corrections. Like, I will correct, just like automatically, because if I stop a lot, it's just gonna be stupid. And I'm stopping a lot, so I'm gonna keep going now. I step out of the tub, only my hair left wet, but I do not wish to wake everyone up with the sound of the hairdryer. So instead, I will let it drip dry. I mean, you could just use the towel and just, dry yourself off with the towel, and it's, I don't know. It takes me seconds to dress myself and leave the bathroom, but the moment the door opens, there's a hand on my lips, and I press firmly to a wall. The darkness of the room doesn't allow me to see who it is just yet, but after a moment, I can make out the faint glow of Yang's yellow locks of hair. When a look of surprise and fear changes to anger and annoyance, I see a smile on her lips before slowly moving her hand away. She said yes, Yang whispers to me, looking over at a still sleeping Blake to clarify what she meant. I nod my head, grabbing Yang by the wrist and leading her out the room with me, but not before grabbing my scroll from the dresser. I carefully close the door behind us and fold my arms. That couldn't have waited? You scared the living hell out of me, Yang. Also, congrats, I say with a sigh. can imagine how happy Yang must have felt. She's been pursuing Blake for who knows how long, and has gone through the rejection process many times. I was fortunate enough to ask out Ruby once I get the answer I was seeking, and even then I was beyond elated at her answer. Nope, heard the shower, and when I peeked over you were missing, so I decided to wait for you to finish up and tell you before Ruby. Yang smiles, but then I could feel a shift of her in her attitude. With the same instant, her left hand goes over my lips once more, and with her right, she delivers an excruciatingly painful hook to my left arm. The immense pain making the limb go numb while I let out a muffled cry of pain into her hand. Immediately after the punch, she uses the same arm to deliver the punch to hug me, leaving me in a pain of passive and a passive confusion as tears fills my eyes and begin rolling down my cheeks. That's for sleeping with my sister, she whispers into my ear, gently rubbing my back. You gave me the okay to, you brute. I know what you're thinking, Weiss. I encouraged you last night, but consider that I only punched your arm instead of murdered you just now. Like I said, I am protective of her, and when I saw the clothes on the floor when I got back with Blake, she had to hold me back from yanking you into the hallway then and there. Well, actually, I told her to be ready to stop me. As Yang speaks, I do my best to calm my breathing and move my unresponsive arm. I can feel the numbing expanding throughout, but despite my clear gestures of pain, all Yang does is caress my back. Nothing more and nothing less. It is as if she is in a trance of some kind. It is only when I try to pull myself away from her, but her grip doesn't waver or strengthen, that I realize she is lost in herself. Weiss, she whispers, taking a step away to look at me in the eye. Her hand no longer caressing my back, but her left is still over my lips. If you hurt her, hearing those four words ignites a fire in me. And with my right hand, I slap her hand off of my lips with the back of my hand, and follow up by swinging my arm with an open palm in the other direction, making an echoing impact with her cheek. Her head doesn't turn, but the redness from my palm begins to form, and I am left with the shocked, wide-eyed, jaw-dropped face of Yang as she stares at me. You listen to me, you inconsiderate, insecure, barbaric, opprobrious, sophomoric, thick-skulled, imbecilic ignoramus, I snarl, stepping forward as I speak, and making the block step backwards in more of shock and fear. If you ever mouth that, I will hurt Ruby purposefully, then I will not hesitate to raise my fist to you. I will get destroyed, there's no doubt of that, but I will not sell for you or anybody else claiming my love for Ruby to be so little that I would hurt her. I stare into Yang's lilac eyes. Even when I slapped her, they kept their relaxed color. Now, if you'll excuse me, my girlfriend may wake up soon. And I think it would be nice if she didn't have to go far to find herself some clothes to wear. I stomp off to the door, using my scroll to open it before tossing it to Yang. Just because I am pissed at her does not mean I will lock her out the room. Lock her out the room. Whether I like it or not, she is my girlfriend's sister. And I will not let a petty argument escalate further because I took it further than needed. Which I know I have a habit of doing, but I suppose I could attempt to tone it down with Yang, but not by much. As I enter the room, I look at the floor near Yang and Blake's side of the room, seeing both mine and Ruby's discarded clothing, but they are not scattered as they were yesterday. Instead, they are pushed against Blake's bookshelf with my nightgown folded sharply on top. No doubt it was Blake who moved them. I will need to thank her later, since I will not have the courage to touch anybody else's. I then turn my gaze to the other side of the room. Ruby is still sleeping sadly. I'm glad. I walk over to the dresser to find a pair of panties and a bra for her. I end up taking out a black pair of panties with red lining and a bra of the same design. I place them next to the bed on my dresser. They go back into her drawers to find one of her tank tops and a pair of jogging shorts to go with them. The top being black with a dark red heart in the middle, and the shorts being black with red strings. I take them both, placing them on my dresser as well. I have no idea when Ruby will be waking up, but I sit at the edge of the bed and patiently wait, my mind beginning to wonder of what the future may hold. Weiss, I'm sorry. I shake my head, snapping out of my daze to look straight ahead of me to see Yang look at me. How long has she been there? Look, I know you wouldn't hurt my sis. I just picture her as happy as she is now, and to think at some point that may just disappear. I hold my hand up to Yang and shake my head. We could talk later. Let Ruby sleep, I whisper, standing up and walking up to Anne before giving her a quick hug while leaning up to her ear. Just let it go for now. The moment is over, and we both got our thoughts across. I did not mean to slap you, but you will be explaining the black and blue that will be forming on my arm, and why I could barely move it. I let go of the hug, looking at my left arm that has become numb while I was lost in my thoughts. Yeah, I'll copy Blake's notes to your book, Ying whispers, looking at my arm, my index ring, and middle fingers twitching slightly. I may be able to fix it a bit. Heat therapy and all that junk. Yang, let it go. I sigh and sit back down on my bed. I look over my shoulder at Ruby, smiling at her sweet face while she sleeps. I can hear Yang's footsteps fade, prior to the squeaking of her mattress as she hops onto her bed. I lift my left arm onto my lap, debating if I should trust Yang's heat therapy or not. I decide if I look at the clock on Blake's bookshelf, seeing the time is 5:30. It is way earlier than I thought, but with the pain in my arm, I doubt I could fall back to sleep. So without anything else to do, I stand up, go into my closet to get my usual white dress on, followed by my heels, emerald and aster, which I always keep in the room. I don't trust the school lockers. I make my way out the room for a walk, hoping Ruby or Blake will wake up soon and call me on my scroll. This is going to be a long day, Weiss. Okay, so Joyce says in this chapter to be honest and give a review because he feels like this was a weak chapter. Not weak, but still, it was really nice. It was really nice. It was really lovely. It was lovely, not really lovely, because that's childish talk. Oh man. Anyways, guys, we have maybe we could do like 2 more chapters. Yeah, let's make this like a 4 chapter sort of session today. And then I could just like edit this out. No, edit most of the stuff. Man, out of this whole entire chapter, I could just make a montage of my screw ups along with other things. Alright, I'm looking around. I'm looking for songs. I need songs because I keep listening to the same one. Alright, where's Studio Scala? And right back at it again. Fuck yeah. Alright, guys. Here is chapter 30. Oh my god, I'm so hyper today. More monster to drink. Holy fuck, I feel amazing. Alright, chapter 30, everybody. A fall from Haven. Wow, hold on a second. Wow, I just felt a wave of holy shit. Yeah, a wave of holy shit, guys. Oh my god. Wow. That was like a sense of like happiness. Like total bliss. I'm really happy right now, but that was like a whole nother level of it. Wow. Okay, I think I'm good now. Oh shit. Alright, this is in some mysterious POV. Now I don't know who the fuck. I don't know who this character is. If it's Cinder again, I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyways, another early morning for me. But what else is new? It's been like this for as far as I can remember. I am the first one awake, sometimes the first to be asleep, and always the one to be outside during the darkened mornings, and today is no different. I am wearing a dark gray uniform top that has white linings and a white collar. It is very conservative, covering up anything from below my neck to cover my lower half is a flannel skirt that alternates between light gray, dark gray, and black. I prefer sporting the dress I wore to the dance last night, but wearing something like that for a casual walk is not a very wise decision. Fucking shit. I must say the party last night was rather lovely. Had I known a little earlier that the punch was spiked, I probably would not be outside taking a walk so early in the morning. It's roughly 5:45 at the moment, and I'm just arriving at the large fountain within the academy, surprised to see a familiar face sitting at one of the benches that circle around the fountain. Why, Shani, what are you doing out here so early? I get a mild grin across my lips as I approach her. She appears to be in a mild daydream-like state, but as I sit down next to her and move my hair over my left shoulder, I can gaze more easily to my right, which is where Beacon's snow heiress is compared to me. She feels a slight movement on the bench and turns her head to face me, giving me an awkward look. May I help you? She asks me, and as I watch her body language during her question, she appears to be favoring her left arm, lifting it by grabbing her wrist with her right hand and cradling it to her body before resting her right forearm underneath in a more natural gesture. After a closer look, I realize that her entire left arm is a slightly darker shade than the rest of her body, meaning that it suffered a very heavy bruise and is possibly unresponsive at the moment, though I decide not to prod into it for now. It will come out during the conversation, I'm certain. Well, normally when you see someone spaced out this early in the morning, there's something wrong. Am I incorrect? I smile, turning my head to look at her. I suppose it depends just how social and friendly one is. I am not one to assist a random strangers, so I do not expect the same treatment. She looks back at the fountain after her response. I see. Does that have to do with your girlfriend? I mean, she is your girlfriend, right? I grin, seeing her eyes go wide and her cheeks flush, although she keeps looking ahead of her, not turning her to meet my intrigued and focused stare. I am not sure who or what you're referring to. I don't even know who you are. She looks at me, switching the conversation and becoming defensive after my purposeful prodding. I am not judging you. I could care less what the heiress of the Schneedos company does with her romantic life. I'm just trying to help a confused peer. Before you ask, I'm sure you're well aware several people saw that girl kiss you, myself included. My calm and relaxed tone seeming to help ease the tension I built a few seconds ago. I was hoping not too many saw, and if you must know, it is not a conflict with my girlfriend. It is actually with one of my teammates who is nothing further than an inconsiderate barbarian. The usual leveled high-class attitude she speaks with fades into a slight anger, along with an increase in speed with her words. I raise my hand to her, moving it in an up and down motion as a gesture for her to relax and lower her voice. Is your teammate the reason you are favoring your left arm? It better have been a woman who did it, otherwise I would bring it upon myself to resolve the barbaric actions of your teammate. I squint at her, gauging her reaction to my words to determine if her next words will be truth or lie. My entire team is female, but thank you for the concern. I just wish she knew her own strength. Her punches hurt like hell. I can't feel my left arm. The nerve of her. She is such a brawler. She is getting louder now, losing her cool, though the word brawler echoes in my mind. Brawler? Sorry for being nosy, but would she happen to have long blonde hair? Comes off as extremely confident. I make sure to make my voice extra questioning. I don't want to sound too certain and rather play myself off as mildly dumbfounded as I scour for information. Yes, that's her. It seems even to a stranger she comes off as overconfident. I am not surprised in the slightest. I see. So you're teammates with a blonde brawler of Beacon. I nod my head, looking at the fountain ahead of us. The large statue in the middle looked very lovely at night, but as the sun rises and unfortunately loses the beauty of mystery, darkness adds to it. Excuse me? I see. You must not be familiar with the pit. That is a nickname of your teammate. Yang Xiaolong, if I recall her name correctly. Goes by. It makes a lot more sense why your arm is not so responsive. I heard that her strength is jaw-dropping, although I wouldn't know until I face her myself. A grin begins to cross over my lips. Wait, why are you confident you will face Yang? I can see her eyes focus on me from the corner of my eye. Such a curious girl, showing concern for her teammate despite what was done to her arm. Visiting from Haven. I believe I may have the privilege to face your teammate during the tournament. I'm sure she must be the most enthusiastic about it. She's known for never refusing a challenge, I state flatly, taking the brief silence as a chance to close my eyes and lean against the backrest of the bench. I see. You're here for the fall festival. Do not take this the wrong way, but I doubt you are capable of being Yang. She's inhuman in most aspects. Okay, seriously? No, this is like a cliche right here, babe. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. I'm sorry. She's inhuman in most aspects. Her stamina, determination, and power being 3 of her many astounding features. I hear a soft grunt come from her, and when I turn my head to see what is going on, she has now stood up, holding the injured arm close to her body. If you'll excuse me, I should probably be heading back to my dorm. I stand up, flexing my right hand before darting out trained fingers, hitting several pressure points along her arm that causes her fingers to jerk with life for a brief few seconds. The look on her face when she is able to move her fingers briefly brings a light chuckle to my lips. Seems like I can get your arm responding again. But I'll need some equipment for my room. If you'll kindly follow me to the east section of Beacon to the visiting dormitories, then we'll have your arm perfectly responsive again within 10 minutes. I look at her, seeing the debate in her eyes. Since she has stood up now, I can get a better look at the weapon she has resting on her right hip. It is a rapier, but with a heavily designed hilt. And after a closer inspection, I can see that it has several cartridges along the sides, each one filled with a different color of dust. You got my arm moving again? She asked, uncertainty still present in her voice. I was able to get it moving briefly just now, wasn't I? I assure you, I won't make any attempts to harm you. If you wish to wait here while I get what I need, so be it, but it will only take longer since I need to carry it back here. I see your point. I suppose it couldn't hurt. Are you taking medical classes in Haven? Or something of the sorts? While she questions me, I stand up and begin to head back towards the east dorms, answering her question while we walk. Actually, what I learned is something specific to my semblance. It's nothing routine. Nothing routine-like, but I've done it many times, mostly on myself after several unfortunate events. I'd rather not go into detail about them, if that is fine with you. Anyway, that girl from last night. Her name is RWBY, correct? Sometimes a home remedy tends to be better than procedure treatments. And how do you know her name? She asked, the clicking her heels stopping. I was nearby during her slight tantrum to you talking to the goggle-wearing pretty boy. You called her by her name at the time, although I do not know her last name. I pause as well, looking over my shoulder while I speak. At my answer, Weiss appears to be satisfied and begins to follow me again. Her last name is Rose. Not a name that holds much value if that is what you're looking for. She is just a normal girl, who has an obsession with weapons. A true love story, it seems. The rich heiress goes far from home and meets her second half. Rather poetic. It's a shame that RWBY Rose is nothing more than a tragic hero at this point. Call it what you wish. I'm just satisfied that I had the good fortune to be in the same team as. Seems the heiress slipped out a little more information than she wanted to. Same team. That means she shares a team with Yank Xiaolong and RWBY Rose. And if that blonde is going out with that brunette from last night, then it seems that all I need to know is a name to pin to that face. This is far easier than expected. Anyway, here we are, I say while I push open the door to the large dorm area. After entering and going to the staircase to the immediate right, we travel up one flight of stairs and enter the dorm right across the hall. Okay, I already know whose POV is this, so I'm not even gonna say anything about it. You can figure it out. By the way, my outburst from earlier, that was because that was more like a cliche sort of thing, where the person that tries to get information out, the person that she's trying to get information out of, tends to say things that shouldn't have been said. I mean, if you were to think about it, the obvious answer would have been I think she should not have said anything about it. I'd rather, she could have just said, I'd rather not talk about it. Or, it's more of a secret. I'd rather not explain. I don't know. Alright. Anyway, here we are. After entering and going into the staircase to the immediate right, travel and flight stairs and enter the dorm right across the hall. You two, we have company, I shout as I walk in. My dorm was very standard, having the black carpeting as all the other dorms, I am sure. After entering the dorm, directly to the left is my bed, against the corner of the room. There are 2 more beds on the other corners of the room, opposite from where the doorway to the room is. Directly to the right is the dresser I share with 2 others, each of us having one drawer to store that we want. And the bottom drawer is the one I have taken for myself. The dresser is white with a red emblem of some sorts. I've always dismissed it as an emblem for Beacon Academy. Between my bed and the one on the far left corner of the room is a window with red curtains. And below the window is a 2-shelf bookshelf that is filled with several books provided to each room by the Academy. I don't think anyone else is here, Weiss whispers while I walk over to the dresser, going into the bottom drawer and pulling out a small box. I carry the box with me to my bed and begin opening it to get everything ready. It seems so. They must have decided to take a walk like I did. No matter, we will be done in just a moment. Please, take a seat, I whispered to her, gesturing to the corner of my bed while I take out a vial of red dust, a roll of bandages, and a clip to hold the bandages together after it is wrapped. You use dust for your medical practice? She asks in curiosity as she sits at the edge of my bed, still cradling the arm to her body. Yes. Now, if you hold still, this shouldn't take too long. I tell her while I open up the vial. I sit down next to her, leaving the vial open in my left hand while I brush my right over her injured upper arm. By the way, I never did catch your name, she asks me. I suppose I should tell her. You're right. Where are my manners? I smile, my amber eyes gaining a faint glow to them while the red dust floats from the vial, forming hundreds of thin needles, nearly invisible to the human eye in any angle. My name is Cinder. Now hold still. This may just hurt a bit. Yep, so this whole entire POV was actually Cinder's POV. Huh. Okay, 20, 29, 30, 31. Alright, guys. Actually, I might do more. Yeah. You know, let's make this one about 2 hours long. Just a little gift from me to you guys. Alright, here is chapter 31, you guys. Accidents, annoyances, and abductions. This is in Blake's POV. And dang, that just really gives it away. Okay, all these songs are beautiful, so I'm gonna put 5 stars on each of them. Oh, I'm talking about this album I'm listening to of A Day to Remember. Alright. Okay, once again, it's in Blake's POV. Those 2 must have forgotten that I am a faunus. A faunus with incredible hearing at that. I swear, could Weiss have just taken a walk without getting dressed? All the commotion between those 2 now have me wide awake. Weiss left the room not too long ago, and Yang is on her bed, sighing, tossing, and turning. Just because her and I are going out now doesn't mean I won't hesitate to kill her for some peace and quiet. I'll just make it quick and painless instead. Yang, get down here. I sit up and whisper to the blondie above. Oh, you're awake? Yang says in a rather loud tone, making me reach up and slap the side of her bed. Be quiet. You'll wake up a little red. You can whisper, Yang. I can hear mumbles pretty well. Forgot? No, I didn't forget. She whispers while sliding off of her bed and landing next to mine with a slight thud. But nothing that loud, considering how loud she could be with her landings. I should have woke you up, didn't I? Both of you did. What happened between you 2? I ask, moving away from the edge of my bed, giving Yang room to sit down. She does just that, but sits with only one foot on the floor so she can sit sideways to face me. Although I take the chance to rest my head in her lap, getting comfortable with the warmth that comes from with it. Well, I sort of went big sister mode again. Yang lets out a nervous giggle, scratching the back of her head while she does so. So you threatened Weiss. Again. Nothing really new with that. What else happened? I squint, looking through the dimness in the room to find those lilac eyes. Okay, I was calmed down and all. Surprisingly, you must have still been sleeping while Weiss and I went out of the room. No, I was awake while Weiss showered. It was after you 2 left that I finally got back to sleep. Not for long, it seems, however. I sigh, Yang reaching down to grasp my hand in her own. A slight gesture of apology from my blonde brawler. I just love the sound of that. My blonde brawler. I get it, kitty cat. Sorry. Anyway, I sort of was still a bit uneasy about coming in and seeing those 2 laying together and all the clothes scattered, so I sort of punched her in the arm. There is a slight whimper in her voice when she says this, seeing there is a bit more to the story than she is letting on. And she can't move her arm right now, it seems. Yang looks away from me. The look of disapproval on my face is beyond what I'm normally capable of showing. I sit up, lifting my head from her lap and slide myself to the edge of the bed to sit next to her. So you threaten her and then decide that's not enough and disable her arm? No. I punched her arm first, then threatened her not to hurt Ruby. And she slapped me and said if I ever threaten her with that again, she won't hesitate to fight me, even though I destroyed her. All of that was her words, I swear. So she slapped you because you threatened her not to hurt Ruby? Yang, makes sense. It is too early for me to decipher everything. Because she saw my threat as me saying she doesn't love Ruby that much, and she won't hesitate to fight anyone who would say her love for Ruby is small enough that she'd hurt my sis. Well, at least we know she cares for Little Red enough to slap the puns out of you. I nod my head, earning a dissatisfied look from Yang. Very funny, Blake. So yeah, that's what happened. Her arm will heal. I told her it could probably make it heal a little quicker, not by much, but something to help with nonetheless. And she said just let it go for now. I feel bad. It took me until now to realize it, but Weiss is willing to go through hell and more impressively through me in order to keep Ruby happy. And what do? I punish her for that. I look at Yang, those lead-like eyes filling with sadness. Fuck, I yawned. I didn't want to yawn. That was a challenge. It's fine, Yang. All we can do is let Weiss calm down a little, and you will apologize to her when she comes back. Not complicated at all, is it? I reached my hand out to pull Yang's head into my shoulder, wrapping my other arm around her to hold her close to me. I'm sure Weiss will cut you a break. She's dealt with your stubbornness so many times, and I think now that she is with Ruby, she has found that it is needed to deal with it a little more because of how you are. But you need to realize that every time you insult and strike Weiss, you are hitting your sister's girlfriend and lover, considering what happened last night. Yang gives a little nod of her head, keeping herself pressed to my shoulder. I brush her blonde hair away from the side of her face, giving her temple a gentle kiss while she lets out soft sighs. Her body has a slight shake to it, although I cannot tell if it is from anger or sadness. Seeing her like this now that we are a couple rips a hole through me, enhancing my feelings for her far more than I may be ready to deal with. But it is a sacrifice that I am far more than willing to take. I began planning several more kisses to her temple, hoping one of them will adjust her into mine and get her to calm down. Thanks, Blake, I hear her whisper to me. Her voice has a defeated flair to it, being down and worn out, something Yang has never been physically, but this is all emotional right now. I need to go say sorry. I'm going to see if I can find her. Yang lifts her head from my shoulder and gives me a tight hug, smiling at me with a look of resolve on her face. She stands up, immediately going into her drawer, pulling out a pair of gray jogging pants. Right now, she is wearing one of her short-sleeve band shirts and a pair of short shorts. I'll go slightly wide-eyed when Yang stands in front of me, but with her back towards me and bends over, pulling her shorts down, stepping out of them, but adding an extra shake of her hips, making me realize this is all purposeful. I get a clear view of her black boy shorts, but what catches my eyes are the block wording across the back. Treat me right. Oh my god, you fucker. Those words would normally not catch my eye, but 5 letters of the phrase are yellow, instead of white like the rest of the text. When reading the yellow portion of the text, it changes from treat me right to eat me. The thought making my cheeks red. Yeah, you fucker. And my mind wanderer as it has done several times in the past, especially after Yang taking an evening to give my ears special attention. It is not until Yang begins to giggle that I snap out of my trance and look at her, realizing I must have spaced out for quite a bit, because she already has her jogging pants up and is now down on one knee in front of me. You okay, Blake? Spaced out a bit there. Yang has the biggest smile on her face, and my wide-eyed expression disappears from one of anger as I stare intently at the blonde. Get out now! I growl at her, and without needing a second warning from me, she stands up, grabbing a pair of socks to put on and then placing on her brown knee-high platform boots, and turns a jog as she leaves the room. If she didn't pull that stunt, I would have told her to try calling Weiss to find out where she is. But this will teach her to tease me like that. I'm sure she'll realize she could have called Weiss first to make the search much easier. It's nice being the smarter one in a relationship, and the more spiteful one as well. You're not smart enough. You're not smart enough. Ugh, Yang. I hear a squeaky, tired, angry, and strained voice call out. I look across the room to see Ruby's covered form tossing and turning, vying to loosen up stiff muscles and finish the waking up process that Yang unfortunately started when she took off out the door and slammed it behind her. She just left, Ruby. How do you know it was her? I call out and stand up from my bed. I can see her messy bed head when she peeks over her shoulder at me. It is weird seeing her with white tips, but I can't say that they look odd on her. As a matter of fact, they look cuter than her red tips. Because Yang is the only person in this room that would ever slam the door. Ruby groans, vying to wake up. As I reach the bed, I can see several clothes for Ruby lay down on the dresser. Weiss, you overachieving girlfriend. Here, little red. Looks like Weiss got you some clothes to wear. I carefully pick up the folded clothes and lay them on the bed next to her. Thanks, Blake. I should probably shower first, though. Ruby rolls over to look at me, clenching the bed sheets over her form. A soft, sweet, and innocent stare at me makes me realize what she meant. Oh! I stand up, taking the clothes in my arms and bringing them into the bathroom. I place them on the lid of the toilet seat, walking out of the bathroom and sitting on my bed with my head turned to the wall. Alright, you're clear, I called out to Ruby. I can hear quick footsteps scurry across the room, complete with the bathroom door shutting and locking. I find it cute how she does not wish me to see her exposed, although I have already. I've grown to be like a sister in several ways to Ruby. And the first time I came into the room and she was just dropping her towel to get dressed completely embarrassed her. But I was unfazed by it and instead sat down on my bed and began reading my book while an embarrassed, crimson-haired girl, at least back then she was, stuttered, stammered, and choked on her own words until realizing I was not bothered at all and finally continued on with herself getting dressed. You know, I wonder who took the lead last night. Weiss is older and not prone to taking orders in any situation, but Ruby's pretty aggressive in her own right and is also the team's leader. That's something I couldn't ask when both of them are together. I'm sure I could read their faces to find out who it was. Blake! I can hear Ruby sing out while she turns the shower on. I stand up and walk over to the door, leaning against it as I speak. What's up? Where's Weiss? Ruby, you're too cute for your own good, I swear. She went out for a walk. Yang actually went out to go find her. I grin, thinking of the possible goose chases Yang will be going through. Why didn't she just call Weiss instead? Because Yang made the mistake of angering me before she left, so I kept that little idea to myself. I began to giggle that Ruby was quick to think of using a scroll first. As a matter of fact, I guess I should call her to see if she's alright. Oh, but why was she up so early? Fuck. Ruby, Weiss took a shower before she left, so I'm sure that she felt the need to clean up for the same reason you rushed into the shower as well. I comment. A long pause coming from the bathroom, and the sound of the shower curtain being pushed aside leads me to know she's climbing in. I can hear the sound of the water hitting the floor die out. Indicating it is now cascading Ruby's form, but she still speaks to me. You didn't have to say it like that, Blake. You didn't have to say it like that, Blake. Fuck. Her voice is slightly lower, most likely from embarrassment. Ruby, I pushed aside both your clothing and Weiss's clothing last night when Yang and I came back. You seem to forget that I supported the two of you getting together since the first time you started bickering. I don't think you need to be embarrassed when I mention things like this. That reminds me, Yang and I are going out now. Wait, what? I heard the shower curtain open and the slightly wet clap hit the floor. Before I realized that the bathroom door is opening and I need to quickly step forward and turn around to see what is going on. The moment I turn around, I am met with a tight hug from a naked, water-covered Ruby. A loud hiss of disapproval echoes in the room, mostly because of my disliking a water splashed me without me being prepared for it. But Ruby doesn't let go at all. I'm like, I'm so happy. Yang must be so happy. I hope you're happy. This is just so perfect. I can't help but smile at Ruby's innocence and elation. Despite me being so wet right now. Not in that way. Okay, I just added that. Sorry about that. A girl that was trying to hide her nakedness from me earlier is now hugging me with a death lock. But I keep my hands at my side since, well, there isn't really a place for me to hug her without me feeling awkward, which I already do from her throwing her naked form at me. Ruby, as happy as I am to see your reaction to the news, I lean down, bringing my lips to her ear, a mild smirk crossing over them. I don't think my girlfriend would be happy that her naked sister is hugging me. The sudden gasp and scream as Ruby realizes what she did makes my ears ring, and in a flurry of rose petals, she disappears back into the bathroom and closes the door. I'm sorry! Ruby screams as they're shutting the door. It's fine. Just hurry up and shower. I call out, then walk to my bedside to find my scroll. I sit down at the edge of my bed, flipping through the device to my phone book and scroll down the list until I find the name Ice Queen. But in honor of the consummation, I guess I should change the name. I debate between putting Little Red's girlfriend, Little Red's princess, but give up, since the prefix would confuse me at some point, and I would think I am messaging Ruby when instead I am speaking to Weiss. So I settled for just changing the name to Weiss. Deciding to give Warming Ice Queen the benefit of having her government name used from now on, I shrug my shoulders, satisfied with my efforts, and call her Scroll. It rings several times, but eventually it is answered. However, I am surprised to hear a soft, melodic, and mature voice answer. Hello. Like Belladonna, is it? I'm guessing you read the name on display. Yes, that is me. Who is this, and where is Weiss? I ask, growing slightly uneasy. Weiss was not someone to let another person answer a scroll. I'm a student from Haven. I believe that is sufficient information for now, I mean. If you're calling to look for her, there's no need to worry. I came upon her at the fountain and found her with troubles using her left arm. I treated her arm so it should be responsive and functioning at about 80% when she wakes up. Wakes up? What did you do to her? I snap, my eyes growing wide as I begin to worry more for her. Yelling will change nothing, Blake. I fixed her arm. She is fine. Her methods are just a bit more painful to her. The only other person I have had to work on in such a manner is myself, and I have a rather high pain tolerance. I suppose I forgot about that when I began working on her. She should be awake before noon, and I will have her call you. If she does not, then do not hesitate to call again, and I will gladly give you my room number to come pick her up. Wait, what is your... I hear a small click from the scroll, indicating that whoever that was just hung up the phone. Name. Okay, if that person is really from Haven, she is in the East Dormitories. Should I go look for her? What if it's some sort of trap? I can't tell Yang. She'll throw a fit that she put Weiss into this situation. And if I tell Ruby, then Ruby will go berserk. I look at the time of my scroll. It is only 6:30. At the very most, it will be 5.5 hours before Weiss calls. That is far too long to be waiting for her to call, especially considering the distance that can be covered in that amount of time. Alright, let me call back. I quickly recall Weiss, this time the phone only ringing once before it is answered by the same voice. Blake, if you keep calling, then she will wake up before she is supposed to and feel much more pain than needed. The voice is slightly annoyed, but still calm and relaxed with a very slow speech pattern. Yes, but I need you to understand that I cannot wait for a maximum of 5.5 hours for her to wake up because you don't know if I am telling the truth. Is that it? I see. Look at your scroll. I look down at my device, seeing that whoever is using Weiss's scroll put it on the camera and it has it on Weiss, as well as panning about the room, showing off the dark carpet and a dress with Beacon's emblem on it. As it also pans by the window, I can make out a faint sighting of the Emerald Forest. Shortly after, the screen goes black and just displays Weiss's name in the picture. I place my scroll of her. Oh my god! And the picture I placed on my scroll of her. Is that satisfactory? Should I make a video call to her for every hour until she wakes up? She seems to be annoyed at my distress, willing to cooperate rather easily. No, but I'll make 1 or 2 more surprise calls to verify that she is still there. Is that a problem? Not at all. I'll be watching over her until she is awake. Goodbye. Just as quickly she hung up earlier, she does so again. I should have thanked her for helping Weiss out, but I'd rather say that for when Weiss calls and I know she is okay. She appears to be in good hands, Blake. Just relax. Who is that woman? Her voice is oddly disturbing to me. Shiver-inducing almost. Weiss, just who the hell are you getting yourself involved with? Oh man, Jesus Christ, Weiss. Lord Jesus Christ. Alright, here's chapter 32. Hallucination. This is in Yang's POV. Oh, the title sounds so scary. God, what the fuck am I seriously doing? Okay, so I've been looking for Weiss for nearly half an hour. Considering there are not many places she would go, that is a really long time. Now that I think about it, I should have just called her Scroll, but that would have warned her I wanted to talk it would have made her more anxious. Or anxious. My puns are amazing. Man, fuck you, Yang. So, okay, I'm just kidding. So I decided to take the 10-minute walk back to the room. God damn, I wanted to use the anxious for red snowflakes. What? I didn't say anything about red snowflakes. God damn, I keep spoiling shit about my story. Even though I haven't even written it for a while because of the snowy rose. Alright, so I decided to take the 10-minute walk back to the room. But when I'm halfway down the hall, I can hear screams and shouts coming from the room. Some were from RWBY, and the others were Blake. I immediately make a short dash for the door, also realizing that I was stupid and forgot my scroll. Damn it, Yang! I tried to think quickly, not wanting to destroy the door, but with the frantic screams I had little choice. If I tried punching the door, my fist would simply break a hole into it and not open it. I decided that kicking would be a better bet, and slammed my foot into the door on the side with the hinges. If I'm going to break the door, I might as well break it from the side that won't cost me a fortune to fix. Those fancy scroll locks would probably cost me the rest of my fight purse to fix. And I need that for my date. I hear the door bust from the hinges, falling to the floor while I stand in the doorway. My jaw dropped as I watched RWBY holding Blake against the wall. My little sister showing some of her hidden strength since Blake's feet aren't even touching the floor. But RWBY was only in a bath towel and her hair is soaking wet. I could see a look of fear in Blake's eyes, and RWBY has anything but kindness in her voice. Blake, this is my girlfriend that we're talking about. If she's the same woman from the CCT, then Weiss is in big trouble. Now tell me where the heck they are. Oh, I just said where the heck they are. Yeah, I'm adding shit to it. But I mean, it does make sense. RWBY screams. RWBY, put her down! I snarl, stepping over the kicked down door towards the two. I pause in place when RWBY looks over her shoulder, her silver eyes piercing me from through her white zips. That look from her is something I've never seen before. For the first time, I don't see the normal hate from RWBY. I'm subject to nothing but hate from her gaze. My baby sister who has no cares in the world. A person who has never held a grudge against anybody is completely furious. Despite her stare, I keep my eyes on hers. At first I almost waver, but I hold on to my gaze. And eventually RWBY lets go of Blake, who drops down to a crouch and carefully walks around RWBY into my side. And carefully walks around... What? And carefully walks around RWBY into my side. RWBY down tilts her head, hiding her eyes underneath her hair while clenching her fist. I hold my arm out in front of Blake, worried that my sister may be close to snapping. But a trickling and glisten down her pale cheek says otherwise. She took me away from Weiss. She kept me from the dance, and now she's keeping Weiss from me. Blake, how do you know she's even in Beacon? Or if she's still in Beacon? What happens if she leaves with Weiss? If they disappear and try to ransom her off? What then? I feel myself tear inside. My sister is now on her knees, her tears dropping from her cheeks and onto the back. God damn, this is too cheery music for this crap. Her tears dropping from her cheeks and onto the back of her planted hands. I finally registered the conversation, realizing that Weiss has possibly been abducted, and Blake has information on that. As hard as it is for me to do, I turn my head away from my crying sister and begin whispering in an inaudible tone, at least to anybody but Aphanis. Where is she, Blake? Blake turns her head to look at me. It simply shakes her head. Those normally stern amber eyes broken. From what was a happy night has now turned into hell. My girlfriend is depressed enough that it can be seen on her face. My sister is having a mental meltdown, and there is nothing within my power to help. Not a single thing. Comfort her, I whisper again, my voice barely even audible to myself. I begin to turn, deciding it would be best to get the door back on its hinges before we continue this conversation. Or at least get the door shifted into the doorway to at least not draw too much attention to anyone passing by the room. But as I go to do so, I feel Blake clutching my wrist. And when I turn my head to look at her, I go wide-eyed upon the expression I receive. For the first time ever, I see that Blake is terrified of RWBY. Oh, my sister has more in common with Blake than I do. Those two are the best to cool friends, or whatever that fancy word she uses is. They much anime together. They communicate wordlessly at times. And honestly, Blake has been more of a sister to RWBY than I have. And although that eats away at my being, I am glad that it is Blake. A person that is far more calm and collective than I am. A girl that gives worthwhile advice and has shown pure admiration for my sister on several occasions. Blake, she won't hurt you. Look at her. She's worried about Weiss. If Weiss knew you were possibly in trouble, I'd be ready to kill her in a heartbeat. Ruby's broken. She needs comfort. I'm not leaving the room. I just want to get the door back up. Blake seems satisfied with my answer and carefully walks over to Ruby. While she tries to cover my sister, I walk up to the collapsed door and carefully lift it straight up, getting it to fit right back where it belongs. Surprisingly, I kicked it cleanly out of the wall, so it is just a matter of me lining up the holes and giving it a good pound with my fist to get each screw back to fall back where it was, along with the hinges. Of course, the door won't be able to survive any harsh openings or closings, but it will hold until I melt the wall around the screws a little. But we'll do that another time. Alright, you two, I say in a loud, clear voice while I turn around to see them both on Blake's bed. Ruby is now dressed in the outfit I saw Weiss lay out for her earlier in the day. A black tank top with a red heart in the middle, and a pair of black jogging shorts with red strings that match. Blake is seated at the edge of the bed with Ruby's face buried into her lap in a light sob. Never in a million years would I believe I would ever see my sister like this. Blake, where's Weiss? I ask, walking towards the two and lowering down to a knee in front of Blake. A slight glance down and I could see the profile of my crying sister. Something I thought I would never have to see again. Something I told myself that I would never see again because I wouldn't allow it. And right now, it is Blake that's ultimately the one making my sister cry. I won't settle for that. Yang, Weiss is still on campus. Before Ruby snapped, I was going to say that whoever Weiss is with was taking care of her arm. The arm you paralyzed, by the way. And she blacked out from whatever treatment she was given. I called Weiss's scroll, and someone answered and it gave me video for you to show Weiss was asleep. And showed the room. I could see the Emerald Forest out the window, and one of the dressers in her room had Beacon's logo on it. Weiss hasn't left the campus, and that call was about 40 minutes ago. The entire time Blake speaks, she keeps a gentle palm petting Ruby's black and white hair. The rhythmic gestures seeming to work its magic on my sis, who soon begins to calm down and adapt a more normal breathing pace. Where is she, Blake? I ask again. I asked lower than before. I keep my eyes locked onto Blake's face, the amber gaze keeping a staring match with me that I ultimately win. As Blake looks away, she takes a second to look down at Ruby. I don't want her to go after Weiss. Weiss is fine. If Ruby does something rash in the state that she is in, then who knows what that woman would do when she is angry. Apparently she was in a nice enough mood to take care of Weiss. But what if she isn't always like that? What if she is some sort of sadist? Blake speaks the last word slowly, appearing to have arrived at some sort of realization. Blake? Yank, Ruby can't go. That woman is a sadist. If Ruby goes there, who knows what she will do to Weiss and to Ruby. Then you lead the way, Blake. I can't lead the way. She saw the picture Weiss has of me on her scroll. She knows how I look. For all I know, she knows how the two of you look as well. But at the very least, she definitely knows my face. It's not like I haven't thought this through, Yang. Ruby heard me while I was talking to whoever it is with Weiss. And all she picked up was the voice pattern. And she thinks it's someone she followed the CCT. Blake, if we don't even know where on the campus she is, how can we be sure she is even still in Beacon? And not on some jet with a room made to replicate Beacon's room? Because it adds up, Yang. She's visiting from Haven. If I was able to make out the Emerald Forest this early, that means the sun was rising from that direction. Blake's eyes widen and a smirk crosses my lips. Blake slipped up and said just enough. So, Weiss is in the eastern dormitories, Ruby shouts, and in the same instant I see a flurry of rose petals and hear the door open as well as collapse to the ground once more. Just as predicted, Ruby is long gone. I watch as Blake jumps up and tries to make a dash for the door to follow, but I reach an arm out, grabbing her by the waist and throwing her back onto her bed. Sorry, kitty, but we need to sit this one out. We won't be able to keep up with Ruby to begin with. Ruby's probably halfway there, and even if you follow, you'd just be getting out of our dorm wing. I turn around and make my way to the door, this time hitting the wall where the screws for the hinges go, and quickly lift the door into place, letting the melting portion harden around the screws and lock the hinges in place much firmer than they initially were. Yang, aren't you worried? What happens if Weiss gets hurt? What happens if Ruby... This is my fault, Blake. I started this. Me. I'm the reason why I ended up going with whoever that is. And because of me, Ruby has lost her cool. And you're scared shitless of her? I'm the only one here who hasn't suffered. I clench my fist, resting my head against the secure door. Yang, Blake whispers. And following her whisper, I can hear her footsteps approaching me before her slender arms embrace me. I could feel her arms wrap around my stomach, making me clench my toned midsection from the odd feeling of being hugged by her like this for the first time. You've been the one suffering the most. Seeing your sister like that, me like that, knowing Weiss is in danger because of you, and even now you're not pursuing Ruby like you normally would. You're punishing yourself, Yang. Why? I feel Blake press her lips to the back of my neck, then to my ear, prior to nipping my earlobe. Then tell me why, Yang. We're together now. You can't hide things from me. I won't let you. I'm not fit to protect her anymore, Blake. I told myself I would never make her cry again, and the moment I saw that tear roll down her cheek, I knew it was all my fault. I'm fucking useless! I shout, winding my arm up to punch a clean hole through the wall. But I feel Blake's slender fingers grip my bicep, making my arm go weak from her always gentle touch. You were able to squeeze out the information she wanted from me. I think you proved your use. Now can we go after Ruby? Not a chance. I sigh, turning around and lifting Blake into my arms, carrying her in a brawl style towards her bed. We'll wait here for her to come back with Weiss, which she will. And I'll apologize to Weiss like I was trying to do earlier, and to Ruby for putting her through all this, I explained, sitting down on Blake's bed while still holding her tightly in my arms. And what about me? You left me in a room with the Weiss-obsessed side of your sister, and she almost killed me. Blake, you choose the wrong times to rub it in. I swear. Well, I plan on apologizing to you right now. I smile, moving my hand to the back of Blake's head. The brunette follows, adapting a slight grin to my words, and moves her arms around the back of my neck. So you just wanted to get us to be alone for a little bit, she says with that noticed sarcasm of hers. You know that's not true. It just worked out this way. So I may as well take my mind off of worried sister mode. You'll help with that, right? I ask, gently tugging Blake's head up towards me. Possibly. This time, she answers, half lidding her emerald eyes as her lips are near mine. Perhaps I'm being selfish. I always look at everything in respect to myself. Ruby is my sister. Blake is my partner and my teammate. Weiss is my sister's girlfriend. But now I need to change that and realize that Ruby isn't just my sister. She's Weiss's girlfriend. Letting Ruby pursue Weiss on her own is my first and largest step to acknowledging that. Don't make a scene, Ruby. Weiss will be fine as long as you trust her. You know, I feel like Yang just made the biggest mistake of her life. Because, I mean, Ruby said that it seems like to be the woman from the CCT. So, obviously, there has to be some trouble going on. I don't know. And plus, with Blake saying that she's a sadist, apparently, that has got to be terrifying to hear. I never thought I would hear I would never have to say the word sadist in a fanfic. So that's my first. And it scares the living shit out of me. Oh, man. I don't know, man. Okay, guys, we're gonna read one more chapter and then we're done. And you're welcome for giving you this really long narration session. This is all in one take, everybody, by the way. Alright. Chapter 33. Ice cream sundae with red sprinkles. You know, that actually sounds really nice. And goddamn that pun. Hey, I made a ice cream. Except I never talked about it in my videos, so... yeah. Wait. Did I? I don't think I ever did. But I know for sure, because I said ice cream a lot before reading this fanfic. Anyways, this is in some mysterious POV. Let's do this! A little soft sigh as I enter the eastern dormitories. I make sure nobody's nearby to see me enter as I make my way up to the nearby stairwell and exit on the next level up. I tap on the nearest door. A slow, deep, but feminine voice tells me to enter, and I do so without hesitation. "You're late. Again," Cinder whispers to me as I walk in. She is speaking in a much softer tone, and when I look towards my left after entering, I see her sitting on her bed with a girl's head on her lap. She has snow white hair, the softest facial expression, and it completes her sweet, innocent look with a messy set of twin tails, almost as if they have been formed by a bedhead of some kind. Apparently, Cinder sees me staring at the messy hair because her eyes break from me and look at it herself. You're right. Her hair is a mess. Give me the brush on top of the dresser, will you? Cinder speaks in another soft whisper. Normally she would scold my late arrival, but it seems she's doing her best to avoid the sleeping girl. I nod my head and quickly make my way over to the dresser, blinking as I see the several brushes and decide that the one with the most bristles is the one to go with. The brush I grab is completely black with a glossy texture. All the bristles are thin and black, barely having any space between them, and making it impossible to see the base of the brush beneath them. I look over to Cinder and give her the brush. She already has this mystery girl sitting up with her back against Cinder for support. She's surprisingly light. Do me a favor and hold their shoulders to keep her from moving. It's another soft whisper from Cinder, something I am not used to hearing from her. I nod my head and stand in front of the two of them, placing my hand on the unconscious girl's shoulder to hold her in place. I watch as Cinder places her left hand on the girl's head and uses the other to hold the brush and begin detangling one of the twin tails. I do not make a single sound while she does this, not wanting to get her angrier than she already is. I do not know who this mystery girl is, but she has saved my eardrums and from being imploded from Cinder's scolding. I am thankful that she is nearby. Man, imagine just Weiss not being in there. And then when she comes in, no, I'm guessing this is Emerald, by the way. And the scary thing would be like, "Where have you been? You're late! Boom, boom, slap, slap!" I don't know, man. Sorry, guys. I'm thankful that she is nearby. Just go back to the normal voice, please. I suppose with the twin tails you can't notice. Picture her with a French braid. This is the heiress to the Schneedas company. And no, we are not ransoming her. I'm just getting her ready for her rescuing party, which you'll be intercepting. Oh, baby. What the fuck is wrong with me? The relaxed tone Cinder has soon disappears and she looks at me with an intimidating, toothy grin. Almost as if she has just lost her sanity. I want you to leave the brunette with white tips alive. I'll be interested to see how she develops in the future. I'll let her live and mature until she is finally worth killing. There's the Cinder I know. However, I don't believe she's on the way yet. I left the window open. The moment the breeze shifts is when you will go and intercept her. I doubt she will have any company with her. She won't wait for anybody. This is her reason for living, it seems. She finishes with the first twin tail and switches to the next. Cinder has always been sadistic, and usually appears calm and collected until something sparks her interest immensely. She was like that when she first found me several years ago, a look of killer intent in her eyes upon looking at me. But that intent wasn't for me. It took me months to realize that. I watch as she brushes the other twin tail, growling to herself as she fights away the several tangles, which she could do without a problem. But I suppose she is holding back her strength to avoid waking the heir to the Schneedas company. You, my dear girl, she whispered, making me look at her quickly. But I realized she is only talking to the conscious woman. You exist to be the sanity for my favorite Red Reaper. I keep her sealed away within that petite form and hide behind positive emotions. Yet, you're the reason that same girl goes into such a state. I wonder just how far she is willing to go for you. And I plan on finding out very soon. And you'll be helping me with that, whether you like it or not. I watch as Cinder puts down the brush, leaning her head over the shoulder of the unconscious girl, and plants the softest of kisses on her temple. You'll be my trump card. my little ace of spades," Cinder whispers into the ear of an unresponsive girl, who quickly opens her eyes and looks at the window. The winds have shifted. Go. She'll be coming from the direction of the residential dorms. Do not harm her. Understood? She looks at me with those piercing amber eyes. I give her a quick nod in my head and make my way out of the dorm. Of the room, I mean. I take my time going down the stairs, and just as I exit the stairwell and make my left to leave out of the room to the dormitories, I see a girl in a black tank top with a red heart sitting in the very center. The shape of the heart is slightly distorted by my view, since the upper half of the heart is over the curve of her breast, and the lower half is on the flat surface of her torso. For pants, she is wearing black shorts, and the swaying red strings distract me for a split second as she approaches. I find it best to keep advancing calmly towards her, and eventually she slows down to a stop, realizing I intend to block her path. She reaches behind her back, pulling some weird-looking gun over her shoulder. If you're here to stop me, then you know where Weiss is. Take me to her. Now, she commands of me. The usual smile I bear disappears. Nobody commands me. I have only taken orders from one person, and that is the brunette who told me to stop this Red Reaper from getting into the dormitories. Although doing so without harming her will be very difficult. I take a soft breath. Going back to smiling, I can feel my body starting to shake. The adrenaline beginning to pump through me at the thought of fighting someone. My smile turns to a smirk, signaling my refusal to cooperate. And without hesitation, the Red Reaper swings her gun, extending it into a giant scythe, the weapon that signifies the nickname Cinderfall has given her, and holds the weapon that is twice her size towards me. If you won't bring me to her, then you're not going to keep me here either, she says with a scowl on her face. But before our battle begins, I lose myself in thought, being pulled into the sanctuary of my mind to speak with the three beings that comprise who I have been shaped into. I say, fuck Cinder's orders and kill the bitch. Nobody tells us what to do. This overly aggressive voice and his exact replica of me, but instead has brown hair and wears all brown clothing. I've taken to nicknaming her Coco, short for chocolate. She stands at my 2 o'clock position, about 5 meters away. Cinder wants her unharmed. Who are we to disobey? She is part of the reason we have been able to manifest ourselves. The second, calmer and much more mature voice is to my 10 o'clock position. She is another exact replica, but is instead dressed in all pink with matching hair color. I call her Berry, short for strawberry. You two argue all the time. How about we just have fun? I'll take the lead with Berry since she is right. We aren't supposed to kill her. Not this time anyway. A hyper childish voice speaks behind me. I look over my shoulder to see a third replica of myself, but this one is all white. I call her Van, short for vanilla. Fine. You two better not get hit by the bitch. Neo, are you satisfied with letting Van and Bear assist? Coco asked me. It's not like I have much of a... Oh shit, it is not Emerald. Holy shit. What is this? They are in my mind, and they are a part of my being. Together they make me who I am. But their separate personalities lead my intentions through fighting. Whenever I am hit with adrenaline, I hear these three voices. Each is a side of me. Coco is my anger and hate. Anytime my anger takes hold of me greater than any other emotion, her voice becomes the loudest in my head, encouraging me to race hell and leave piles of bodies in my wake, which I am very much capable of after Cinder's training. Berry is my caring and more thoughtful side. She is the more strategic part of my mind, and much more submissive when it comes to obeying an order. She is the voice that keeps me in check, making sure I don't let Coco's love for destruction and Van's want for fun turn me into a violent mess. She is also like my therapist, the one I could hide in my mind and talk to should I feel the need to vent my feelings. And finally, Van is my childish, carefree self, the part of me that was always present during my childhood, but that has changed now into the childish attitude that doesn't care about killing. She is usually the tiebreaker between the arguments that break out between Coco and Berry, but ultimately, she just enjoys having her way, like any child does. Alright, Van, Berry, do your thing. Coco sighs, fading until she completely disappears. I'm glad this was a much easier decision this time around. Berry sighs, fading just like Coco did. I'm going to have so much fun! Van screams from behind me, letting out a series of cheerful giggles before she fades as well. I open my eyes, seeing the Red Reaper charge at me. My right eye now white from Van's presence, and my left eye is pink, welcoming Barry into my thoughts. At the first, well, it's an interesting theory. At the first swing of the scythe, I lean back, ducking underneath a horizontal slice, and begin backflipping away with my usual grin coming back to me. She's fast. Don't get careless. Barry echoes in my mind. Let's play. She's not quick enough to handle Neo's acrobatics, Van shouts, followed with her many giggles. And she was right. I am far more agile than anybody, especially thanks to my small form. I'm only 4'9", but I have never let my height hold me back. Big things always come in small packages. Unfortunately, I did not have my umbrella with me. I left it in the warehouse in Vale with Torchwick since I was in a rush. I quickly dash forward towards the girl. She is already swinging again, but I slide to the floor, going between her legs while she strikes and tugs one of her ankles to make her fall to the floor. While I am still sliding, I move to my feet, using the momentum to do a front flip, then a corkscrew, so I am no longer facing her with significant distance between us. Don't harm her, Cinder said. Barry screams at me, making me roll my eyes. Although I am the one fighting, I get assistance from two of my three personas that make up who I am. They are my coaches, so to speak, and enhance my movements accordingly. Van enhances my agility and reaction time. Barry enhances my perception and quickens my strategy forming. And Coco, she brings forth my killer intent and makes sure I never hold back. When Coco and Van are in control, I become entirely different than any of the other combinations that make up my separate personalities. I am a swirl of different personalities, just as my name symbolizes. I watch as the girl stands up and turns around, staring at me with hate in her eyes, and a ready intent to kill. But we are far apart in skill, and I have a much heavier drive to live. I place my left hand on my hip. Sporting my grin, my right eye losing its sight thanks to my pink hair covering over it. And in response, I hear several groans of disapproval from Van. "Ah, Barry, I can't see. Switch with me," she cries out. "Oh, fine, just shut up." Vanilla groans in annoyance, and upon me blinking, I can't see it in any way. But I know my eye color's flipped. You two are far more talkative than usual. Keep your eyes. My eyes on the fight. Otherwise, I'll ask Coco to come in. My scolding of them earns a momentary silence in my head, and when I look ahead of me to see the small Reaper who starts to charge at me, I catch a small sighting out of the corner of my eye. The sharp vision in my right eye. Barry's assisted eye, I see several thin needles flying through the air and suddenly pierce into the girl's thighs, shoulders, and biceps. I watch as the girl drops to her knees and also drops her weapon at the same time. Oh no! Okay. I watch as the girl drops to her knees and also drops her weapon at the same time. I look up towards the second story of the building to see Cinder in her black catsuit sporting a mask that covers the upper part of her face. She is jumping down from the room window and begins walking over towards the Red Reaper, who looks over her shoulder with a look of disgust, seeming to know immediately who it was that struck her from behind with the paralyzing projectiles. It hasn't even been a day, yet you are already ruining my morning? Why is that, Ruby Rose? Cinder asks, standing in front of the motionless, kneeling form, and kicks the large scythe towards me. I carefully pick it up, amazed at the weight, and quietly stand behind Cinder with the weapon in my hands. You know why I'm here. Now where's Weiss? The girl known as Ruby screams. I want to bash her head in for talking to Cinder that way. And if Coco was present, I would have most likely done so. She'll be waking up shortly. I moved her to a vacant room at the end of the hallway the moment you enter the dormitory. But know this, Ruby Rose. Cinder reaches into her top for something, and I don't know what it is until she makes a swift swipe with her right hand. Holding her right arm fully extended, and between her index and middle fingers, I see a card. An ace of spades with the top edges slightly bloody. I peek around Cinder's arm to see the girl with a thin cut on her cheek, but an unfazed stare of hate. Right now, I'm letting you live. And I'll continue to keep you alive until you've grown enough to become worth killing. I can feel that sadistic stare as Cinder's looking into the girl's eyes, because those silver orbs soften and eventually turn to fear as Cinder exposes the scary part of her personality. I watch as Cinder drops the card onto Ruby's lap and begins to walk past the girl towards the dorm. I fixed your girlfriend's arm, and my healing method left some red dust in her arm. Should you tell anyone of that, or who and where I am currently residing, I will not hesitate to blow up her limb and leave you with a handicapped heiress. Within 2 weeks, the dust will be pushed from her arm as her body heals itself naturally. And until then, she will be a mere charge in my aura away from losing that precious left arm. I'm sure I don't need to explain any further. Cinder looks over her shoulder with a smirk. And this card? Ruby shouts, looking down at the ace that is tipped with her blood. Keep it. Remember that you will be dead with how weak you are. The day you are able to even land a single strike on me, I will take that card back, and not a moment sooner. Leo, leave her weapon here and let's go. As far as she's concerned, you and I are ghosts. Cinder begins to laugh, and I quickly lower to a knee to place the scythe on the floor. As I stand up, I see those silver eyes lock onto me. I give her a warm smile before courtesying to her and entering a brisk walking pace to catch up to Cinder, who has already traveled upstairs. As I exit on the second floor, I can hear rapid footsteps taking off downstairs. It must be Miss Rose dashing to check on the Schnee girl. I enter Cinder's room, and as usual, she is seated on her bed, but has a satisfied look on her face. I move to sit next to her, and as I do, she places an arm around my waist and pulls me close to her. I want to see what that girl is capable of. I want to watch her blossom. I want to see that hate of hers turn to bloodlust. It seems I found my next project. I frown as she speaks those words, and when she turns her head and sees me without my usual grin, she shakes her head and chuckles. She is not replacing you, Neo. You will always be my favorites. Her response being a smile. Her response brings a smile back to my lips. It says beings. That's why I got confused. And I nod my head. As I blink, both my eyes fades to a light brown color, my natural eye color when I am not in combat or preparing for combat. The eye color that signifies that I am the only one present, and not cocoa, berry, or vanilla. Now, get back to the warehouse in El Roman, and don't forget your umbrella next time. I noticed you didn't have it, so I decided to go out and help you. I never taught you much hand-to-hand combat. Never worry me again. Understood? Cinder asked me rhetorically, her scolding tone having a hint of care in it, and I quickly nod my head. Good. Now get going. Things are calm for now, but we will be moving to the next phase of our plan before very long. I begin to stand up to leave, but Cinder tugs me back down onto the bed. I turn to look at her with mild confusion, but as I turn my head, I am greeted with her lips pressed to my forehead, bringing a slight blush to my cheeks. It was nice seeing you, Neo. Now go. When she whispers to me after pulling her lips from my forehead. I quickly stand up and bow towards her before darting out the room, my usual grin extended further across my face than usual. That sign of affection reminds me who I am today. An event in my past caused me to be saved by a mysterious woman, and eventually tracking her down to show my thanks. But flashbacks can remain for another day. Right now, I need to go back to the warehouse and make sure everything is fine with Torchwick. Oh my god, that was seriously just like surprising. So apparently, RWBY is now under now RWBY's under pressure. Fine, we went over 2 hours. Yes, just what I was initially going for. So yeah, there's a threat under RWBY's head. Well, on top of RWBY's head. And if RWBY screws up, it looks like Ice Queen will be losing her left arm. That has got to be the most scariest thing I've ever heard. And if I were to be in that situation, I mean, I would do the same. I would just like keep quiet about it. Oh man. Hopefully RWBY doesn't screw up. But at the same time, it could be just like how bad guys are. They say things and, well, you know, you get the point. They lie. Just like pirates. But Cinder's not a pirate, so yeah. I just hope Weiss doesn't lose her arm. that's the only thing I'm just scared of right now. I just don't want her to lose her arm because that's the last thing I need to hear or read. But yeah, wow, this was like these chapters were had a lot of feels in it. And well, yeah, that was amazing. They were really nice chapters. Anyways, I'll see you guys later and stay classy. I'll never forget to say that. Have a wonderful day, night, morning, or evening. I mean, the evening is the same thing as night, but there's a slight time difference in it. Okay, I'm going now. See you guys later.